Why are we waiting to live our dream lives? What are we even waiting for? Hi, my name is Mindy, and I talk about creating space in our lives for important things. Today, I'm going to talk about living our dreams today, right now. That's right. All right, let's get started. If you guys watch my channel at all, then you know that I'm working towards financial independence. That's a big goal of mine, but it's a way off in the future, y'all. I have like 8 years or many more years than that. I don't know. It's hard to tell at this point. I also recently published a list of 100 dreams, and if you haven't seen that video, then watch it, but don't watch it right now. Watch this one first, and then I'll link in the description below for the list of 100 dreams, but you'll want to go back and do that video next. But today we're going to talk about how we're going to use the list of dreams, list of 100 dreams. We're going to start incorporating some of those things into our lives today. We're not going to wait. We're going to do it today. What I want for myself is within the next 10 years, I want to be financially independent so that I can spend one-on-one time with my daughter while she still lives at home and devote a significant amount of time every day to music. So those are my dreams. That all seems well and great. I'm like, within 10 years, I'll be able to do all of that stuff, and that's going to be amazing, right? Sure. Here's the problem. I could wait 8 or 10 years or 12 years or however long it takes for me to do those things. But for one, tomorrow is not a guarantee. I don't mean to bring the mood down, guys, but we've all heard the stories of people who have squirreled away their wealth and spent all of this time, and then they retire, and then the next day they drop dead. And that's terrible, right? Think about all the time that they toiled and all the time that they spent, working towards this goal, and then they didn't even get to realize it. They didn't get to realize their dreams. So tomorrow's not a guarantee. The next problem is that sometimes when we wait to do a thing, and then we build up and all this anticipation and excitement, and then we do the thing, and we find out that we don't like the thing. This is a concept that Laura Vanderkam introduces in her book, 168 Hours, You Have More Time Than You Think. And she actually talks about the list of 100 dreams. Then she gives an example of testing out some of these items on your list. Now, in her example, she did some interviews with people, and there's a person that she interviewed who loved the idea of crafting. And so this person would spend time poring over magazines and looking through the stores and buying projects and setting up this and never actually crafting. Well, then her life took a turn and she ended up with more time than she had had previously. She decided to devote some time to crafting, and she actually found out that she did not care for it. It wasn't, she had romanticized the idea, but it ended up that she didn't like it. So I think it's so fortunate for that person that they were able to discover this and move on, because now their mental energy that she would have spent, continuing to dream about crafting, she can now move on to the next thing. So it's a little bit deflating, right? To maybe try something and then find out that you don't love it as much as you thought you might love it. But how much better is that to learn that now and not in 5 or 10 years? By trying things out immediately, you will definitely be able to avoid spending additional time thinking and wondering and dreaming when you could really move your dreams on to the next thing. So how do we go about plucking things off of our list and testing them out and trying to do them? Well, here's what I would suggest, and I've gone through this process myself, and I've gone through many things on my list, and I'm going to talk about those things too. So the first thing that I would do is examine your mission. And if you watched my video on 100 dreams, then hopefully you have a life vision and some kind of plan for your future. So I would start with that big idea. And so I'll use myself as an example. Financial independence was part of my mission. That's hard to test out in little ways, but what I can tell you is every time I meet one of my goalposts, I feel really energized and excited. As soon as I no longer had debt, I felt great. And then once my net worth got to a certain point, then I had this other surge of energy over this goal. Also, there's not too many downsides to financial independence. When I am financially independent, it doesn't mean that I have to stop working. It doesn't mean I have to quit my job. It just means that I have the choice. So I guess the downside, if there is one, would be there's an opportunity cost, right? I'm spending all of this time and energy on financial independence and side hustling and that sort of thing when I could maybe be spending my time doing some other things. The next thing on my list is one-on-one time with my daughter. And so I have gone through the process of finding ways to work in one-on-one quality time, really for sure every single day in some capacity, some days more than others. And if you're interested in that, I made a video about that too, and I'll link that below too. But it's about spending quality time with your kids, and how to find that time like every day in like little tiny moments if you can't always find like the big chunks of time, but how to make time every single day. So I've gone through that process, and I do feel like I have a deeper connection with her, and I look forward to making that an even bigger part of my life once I am financially independent. And let's face it, no one ever said at the end of their lives, "Geesh, wish I hadn't spent so much time with those darn kids." Nope, nobody said that. I feel good about that goal. So the third part of my goal is spending more time with music in a meaningful way. And I actually already kind of have a leg up on this. There's been times in my life where music's been a significant part of my life. So for me, it's more of returning to that than adding in something that I've never done before. So what I could do a better job of is actually spending time with music every single day, like more consistently, because right now it's not very consistent. So I could definitely find a way to maybe squeeze out 15 minutes a day to play piano, or just pick up my bass a little more often, or, you know, incorporate music in a better way, or add some things together and play music with my daughter. And that is something that we do as a family, and it's super enjoyable, and it crosses off so many things on my list at one time, of family time and, you know, time with music in a meaningful way, and just in general, a very happy life. So you might have a problem. You might say, "That's great, Mindy. You can play piano 15 minutes a day, but I want to have foster kids. I can't really test that out," right? Okay, I know. So if it's a big dream that you have to be all in like that, I would recommend trying to incorporate small pieces of it. If we go with the foster kids example, then one thing you could do is volunteer with foster kids, volunteer with underprivileged children, find ways to help people in need, and that would bring you closer to what you're thinking about you want to do. So once we look at our big dreams, then the next thing we can do is say, okay, we've got all the big dream things, and we know that those are things that we want to do, but what else do we want to do? Just because we have big dreams, it doesn't mean we don't have other things we want to do, like spend more time with our friends, or I don't know, I'll look at my list, for example. I want a nicely designed house. Do I have one? Parts of it are nice. Some things are under construction. Some things are, my house is in various stages of design right now, and a lot of it isn't so great. But parts of it are starting to look nicer, and I can incorporate little pieces of that in my life by, you know, choosing one small area and working on it, you know, maybe monthly. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment. That's something that you can pick up and drop regularly. Oh, here's a good example. So I decided I wanted to be an essential oils person. I'm going to be an essential oils person. So I buy the oils, and I spend time poring over Pinterest and looking at all these recipes for oils and making these room sprays and all this stuff. You guys, I don't really like essential oils. Like, I'm trying because I invested in it, but I'm so glad that I tested this out, because I could have very easily made essential oils part of like a bigger mission. You know, like I want to have a store front with soaps and oils, and you know, I wanted to spend my retirement doing craft shows with my essential oils. What if I had never tried it, and then I got to my retirement and I was like, oh, I don't really like it that much. Well, so it turns out that I like the result of essential oils. I like nice smells, and it turns out that I do use my oils, but it's more like I add some drops to a diffuser and I call it a day, and that's enough for me. And now I know that, and I get to enjoy a nice smelling home in the meantime, and If I see an oil that's interesting to me, maybe I'll pick it up. But it's not as big of a hobby as I had anticipated it being when I first plucked it off of my list. And then, oh, I have another good example. Oh, you guys. So I'm going to be a gardener. I had in my head, like, I wanted a garden, and I wanted flower gardens because I wanted to cut them and arrange the flowers into beautiful vases, fresh vegetables to put in my salads, and, I was going to save all this money with my garden, and I had these wonderful plans. And then I decided to try it. I plucked it off of my list of 100 dreams. And it turns out that I don't really like sweating. I don't like getting dirty all the time and going out at night to water the garden when I was tired. And sure, maybe when I have more time, I might enjoy some of that a little more, but overall it was not as much fun as I had anticipated. So what I did learn is that I do want to have a couple of small pots of herbs. I also really enjoy having fresh flowers in my house. So the thing is that I don't need to grow flowers for that to happen. And I was caught up on how expensive they are, but it turns out you can get a bouquet of Aldi at certain times through the year for like $4 or $5. And also just at your local grocery store, a lot of the times there's bouquets. And trust me, if you decide to grow a garden, you're going to spend more money than that trying to make this garden happen if the rabbits don't get them. And let me tell you, the rabbits got mine. So it turns out also that all these fresh vegetables that I wanted to have, there's a local farmer's market that I love going to. And I found it now. Like, I tried a garden. I had like a 5x5 square, and the animals got my vegetables, and I didn't like tending to my garden, and it just ended up being a stressful thing rather than a fun thing. But I actually think going to the farmer's market is relaxing, and I get to talk to my neighbors a little bit, and I get to support our local economy. So I do get my end result, and I'm happy with what I get out of this process, but it just doesn't look like what I expected it to look like. And you guys, this is something that I'm doing now that I didn't wait until, some future day. The interesting thing about people is that we always think that we're going to have more time in another season. But if you think about how much time you have right now, and then think about yourself like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, really think about, how old were your kids, or did you have kids? What was your job like? What were you doing? Did you really find that you had more time now than you did then, or less time now than then? It turns out that the amount of time we have just kind of, it doesn't change that much from season to season usually. So I would encourage you all to just do this with me. I found it really, really helpful, and I hope that you find it helpful too. So if you haven't done it, watch the video on your big dreams and make your list of 100 dreams and try to make a vision for your life. And then start today. Start using some of the tips in this video today to get to experience your happiness now. One more thing I want to say is we tend to think of happiness as an all or nothing thing, right? Like, especially I think as Americans, we really glamorize the payoff. So when someone creates a company and then they sell it for $1 billion, we're like, oh, aren't they lucky? Isn't that amazing? Like, one day they just had this company that they sold for $1 billion. And what we don't think about is the 10 years or however many years that they took building this company and all just the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. And we don't think about how it takes that to get here. And we also tend to minimize our happiness at the journey and tend to think only of the payoff. So if you can reframe this in a way that, if you can recognize all the happiness that you'll gain just from adding in these small things throughout your life, just here and there, just when you can, every couple of weeks, look at your list. If it's your dream to see a production of Hamilton, See when it comes around to town, how much is it for a ticket? That might be something that you can knock off your list, and it's a fairly small cost, and it will move you through your list of things that you want to accomplish or that you want to try. I hope that you'll try this, and as you do, you'll notice that how much your happiness is increasing incrementally but consistently, because you're doing things that are out of your normal and out of your comfort zone, and you're trying things that are your dreams, and you're realizing how you're learning so much about yourself, like what you really do like and don't like. It's such a time of self-discovery, and we don't have to wait until we're retired to find out that we don't want to do the thing, or maybe we don't even ever have that opportunity because life can be like that. Okay, go watch those other videos and leave a comment below. If you would, let me know what's the first thing that you want to try off of your list of 100 dreams. It would be super cool for me to be able to read those things. If you're finding value in this, it would be so helpful to me if you would click the like button. And if you want to see more material like this, then just subscribe, because I put out videos every week and I would love to see you more. Thanks so much. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.